All right, guys, fantasy check-in time now for the Toronto Raptors. Robert Green says, how long do you anticipate Kawhi Leonard sitting out on back-to-backs?
I'm a fun guy.
How many more does he have this season? Do any coincide with fantasy playoffs? And is there value in looking to trade for a player of similar production with a better schedule down the stretch? That's a good question because today is a back-to-back for the Raptors against the Phoenix Suns, and Kawhi is going to be sitting out that back-to-back. He has sat out all the back-to-backs so far this season. The Raptors only have 3 more back-to-back sets for the rest of this year. There is one on the 22nd of January against the Sacramento Kings, and then the next day against the Indiana Pacers. I think he has a legitimate chance to play in that back-to-back. Their next back-to-back after that doesn't come until March. It's the 10th of March against the Miami Heat, and then on the 11th against the Cavs. Look, there's a chance he sits that one against the Cavs, not because it's Kawhi. And even today's game, Kyle Lowry is sitting to rest as well. So it's not just a Kawhi maintenance thing. It's that let's keep our good players healthy against bad teams. So there's that one in March against Miami and Cleveland. And then a week later, on the 17th of March, there's a similar risk that does occur there with the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks on a back-to-back with a risk of both Lowry and Leonard sitting. But that is it. They are all the back-to-backs that Kawhi has left. Now, those 2 in March, they probably do coincide with your fantasy playoffs, depending on when your fantasy playoffs are. So there's a real potential that in 1 week of the playoffs, you miss that, because that first one on the 10th of March and the 11th of March, that's a Sunday, Monday. So you could lose that game on Monday, and then the next back-to-back is also a Sunday, Monday. So you're losing 1 game per week. So that would take Kawhi in that week of the 11th down to just 2 games, and in the next week it would take him down to 3 games. Now there's no guarantee that he sits those games, but I would think that he does play the next back-to-back against the Kings and the Pacers, and then there are those 2 in March, which I would say at this point he's probably 60-40 in favor of playing. And I think there's probably just as much of a chance in those games that Kyle Lowry sits as well as Kawhi Leonard. So is there value trading someone of equal value? Yeah, absolutely. Now, he is the 7th ranked player overall this season. So you're going to have to get back someone who's pretty good. But it's not just about getting back someone of equal value. How do they fit what your team does? That's a big question. Maybe it's Nikola Jokic you could look to trade. That could work in your favor. But then that gives you a huge bump in assists. It drops your steals down significantly. Your scoring takes a hit as well. So in the end, how's that going to impact your team when there's still no guarantee that Kawhi is going to miss both of those games in March? But I think it's a decent shot that he will miss those March games. I guess the silver lining is there is only 3 more back-to-backs for the Raptors this season. But that is legitimately a concern given how the Raptors are playing, how they're managing their stars, and the most important thing there with that back-to-back is the quality of those opponents on the second night of the back-to-back, the Cavs and the Knicks, means the Raptors won't need to go full strength to go and beat those guys, and I think that makes it a legitimate risk. So thank you for your question, Robert.